Hi, I'm Alan Shadd. I'm here today with Daniel Thrailkill, and I've been seeing Daniel now for a few years around some of the fielders conventions in the area here around Virginia, North Carolina. And as Paul had mentioned earlier, this feature is designed to feature some of these younger players that I see coming up. And Daniel's is one of the best, so I'd like to introduce him to you at this time.
I'm Daniel Thrailkill. I'm from a little town in Rowan County in North Carolina called Mount Ulla, North Carolina. I'm 19 years old, and I've been playing now for about 7 years. And kind of got into flat picking from by way of finger picking. Started out as a finger picker, and then kind of started taking lessons from a guy named John Marler in Statesville, North Carolina, and he got me into flat picking. So then I started looking up to guys like Mr. Allen and folks around the competition area. So yeah.
You play with a group now, is that correct?
Play with a group. We're called the Trailblazers. We have a CD, came out in October. It's called A Place to Call My Own. And yeah.
You have a website we can find yet?
We don't have a website quite yet, working on it. We're on Facebook as the Trailblazers. So.
There you go, as long as they can find your CD.
That's right.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the guitar you're playing there.
Yeah, this is a Hooper D18. Ken Hooper is the builder. He's from Elkin, North Carolina, and it's just it's got mahogany back and sides, a Carpathian spruce top, a nice tobacco burst here on the top, and yeah, to pre-war, well, I guess not pre-war, but 1937 D18 standard, just bracing and everything there. I did a little customary things to it, just to my liking, and yeah, it's a great guitar.
It's pretty new.
It's pretty new. It's about three weeks old.
Okay. I'll tell you real quick about the guitar I'm playing here as well. This is a 2013. This is a Henderson D28 style. It's Brazilian rosewood back and sides and red spruce top. And of course, everybody's familiar with Wayne Henderson's guitar. So there you have it. Let's pick a tune.
Sounds good.
This is a Mark O'Connor tune. It's called Picking in the Wind. I learned this a long time ago, and nobody really ever played it, so I've never really played it much myself since then. And a couple of years ago, I run across Daniel here in one of these fiddlers conventions, and he was doing this in the contest, and it was such fun to hear somebody actually play this again. So I thought it'd be fun for us to do it today, and also as a tribute. This week, the Mark O'Connor Family Band just got their first Grammy as a group, so we want to do this as a tribute to that. Kick her off.
Daniel, do you remember the first time you held a guitar?
First time I held a guitar, oh, that is a good question. I
I imagine it was probably when I was about 10 or 11. It was my dad's. He had an old Martin Shenandoah, and action was really high, and I couldn't hardly play it. But I learned all the chords. I learned like all the basic chords that I could on it. And from there, I wanted my own guitar to play because it was his, it wasn't mine. And I think for my next birthday, they got me, my parents got me a Takamine cutaway mahogany back and sides. It was a cheap thing, but it worked. It did the job.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Those cheap guitars got a lot of us going.
They do. They get you going.
And so obviously there's music in the family. Was that what inspired you to want to make music, or was it something else? Or tell us a little bit about that.
You know, I can't say for sure what really made me want to play guitar, really wanted me to pursue it as I'm doing now. But growing up, I always sang hymns in church. My mom always had us singing, me and my siblings from a young age. And I played piano. I'd taken piano for about 3 years. And I really, for some reason, guitar came much easier than piano. And I believe I have at the time, I believe I had a gift at just kind of learning it by ear. And I started watching YouTube videos of Tommy Emmanuel, Chet Atkins, just playing. And from then on, I just kind of wanted to play with how they played. And it wasn't until I took lessons from John Marler in Statesville that I started getting into like Tony Rice. And from when I saw Tony Rice, it was Tony Rice. And that was it. And I wanted to play like him.
What would you say to a young player, another 10-year-old or 11-year-old right now, if you could give them some advice that might help them, to get started? What would you tell yourself if you could go back and talk to your 10-year-old self?
Oh, goodness. Practice your scales. No, I teach a little bit of guitar, but I tell some of my students, don't play strictly to what's on the piece of paper. Play from what's coming in here. Play what you kind of want to hear. If I see a student of mine playing something that sounds right, sounds okay, but not exactly what's on the page, I'm like, no, that's cool, that's awesome.
I think what you just said makes a lot of sense, and it's what a lot of young people need to hear, because I think we meet a lot of players come through the shop here, and some fabulous pickers, but that soul, that heart, can often be missing in someone who's got all the technique in the world, but it doesn't quite capture the listener's heart and soul. That's what we're doing, right? Where the idea is maybe you're making some connection. So definitely, I think. Yeah,
putting your own spin on things and stuff like that.
Can I put you on the spot? Would you sing a little piece of a hymn of any kind?
Absolutely, yeah. Let's see.
Totally unrehearsed.
See if I can remember the chords to this. This is called Abide With Me. Abide with me, fast falls the eventide, the darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless soul, abide with me.
Beautiful. Thank you. Just another thing, I meet a lot of players who come through here, fingerstyle champs and flat picking champs, and many of them have great voices, but they're not singing on stage. I'm like, why aren't you singing? So I'm glad to hear that.
It's one of my favorite things. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming by and playing for us.
No problem. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Right. Thank you.
See y'all.